Stop being scared. Stop letting fear control you. Don't stay put when you should have moved. It's time to start that business. It's time to give that gift. It's time to leave that relationship. It's time to quit that job. It's time to start that new job. Whatever you know God has been tugging you at, this is the time to do it. Little sin can turn into something major. What you fighting in this season? Get up and fight. That's why no sin is little. Oh, it's just little. I'm just watching porn. I'm not having sex. It goes from a little seed to a big sin. I've been through that. One little seed of premarital sex. Now I'm in an abortion clinic.
Let's try this again.
All right, you guys, welcome back to another episode of Let's Try This Again. I am your host, b.simone. I hear y'all cheering for me. Yeah, the hostess with the mostest. I know y'all love me. Thank you for coming back. If you have never heard of this podcast, if you have never listened to this podcast or watched this podcast, thank you for stopping by. I love you. And I am going to make it worth your while. Okay, that sounded sexual. It ain't even like that. But if you are an OG, thank you for coming back. Thank you for, every week we got an episode. We are almost a year into podcasting. Y'all, we are almost 52 episodes in. That is a year. There's 52 weeks isn't there 52 weeks in a year? Am I right? Somebody tell me I'm right. Thank you. They're thumbsing up me. They're thumbsing up because I was like, whoa. How many weeks are in a year? We're almost to 52. And it's been a journey. It's been amazing. We are definitely going to do an anniversary episode, so that will be coming up soon. But this episode, oh my gosh, I did an episode about serving a couple weeks back. Please go look at that episode if you haven't already. This episode is going to be about how I put my best foot forward and actually went to go serve in Columbus, Ohio at my father's church for his ministry. It was absolutely amazing. I'm going to tell you guys all about that and just that whole experience and how it just changed my perspective on a lot of things and filled me up while filling up other people and loving on other people, healing, evolving, growing, and being vulnerable with just a group of women. It was so beautiful. But before we get into that, you guys, make sure you are rating. Please rate. Please thumbs up. Please leave a comment. Analytics. Click it. Tap it. Stick it. Pull it. Bop it. Please bop it. Okay, we need all the clicks, the likes, the thumbs ups, and all the things. Y'all, people have been leaving so many beautiful ratings on Apple Podcasts and leaving reviews. When I say I was crying reading those reviews, thank you guys so much. They're so beautiful. And yeah, just continue to do that. Support the podcast. Every Monday, the audio drops, and every Tuesday, the visual drops on YouTube. Audio drops everywhere that you get your podcast. So yeah, let's get into this episode. Well, hold on. I got to make one more statement. I just said, let's get into this episode, but are y'all proud of me? Because I am getting in my feminine, sexy, soft girl. I don't know if it's soft girl era, but femininity. Okay, I've been doing my makeup for y'all. I've been getting dressed for y'all because y'all know I will show up on this chair, on this couch in a robe with no makeup and a hoodie. But I've been trying to, you know what? Let's look the part. You want romantic love? Look the part. Stop walking out to Target in a hoodie, flip-flops, and your hair not done. Oh my God. And I literally thought about this yesterday because I was coming out of my building and this fine man was walking across the street and I did not want him to see me. That's how crazy I looked. I was like, as good as he looks, I do not match his fly because I have oil in my hair, slicked back, trying to grow my hair out, a hoodie on, Mitch Mac socks with slide-ons. Oh my gosh, stop walking out the house like that. If you want to get got, of course you look nuts. People probably looking at you like she already got a man. She going to pick up groceries for him or something because I know she not trying to get a man looking like that. This literally happened to me yesterday. So I'm making an effort to, just be a little more feminine, a little more put together in public, which should just be a thing anyway. But for me, it's not. I'd rather be comfortable than cute. If you get both, that's a gem. That's a blessing. But for me, I will choose comfortability over looking decent. And then when I get out in public, now I'm trying to hide. Well, you knew you looked crazy when you walked out the house. So, why did I bring that up? Oh, I brought it up because I look cute today. Thank you. And if you are listening and not watching, go watch the YouTube. I feel like I look presentable. Okay? So I made effort. I put my wig on, then I put the hat on over the wig because it wasn't laying down. So it's real cute, hat on over the wig, got a bodysuit on, and I look nice. And I want you guys to acknowledge that. Thank you. So comment and say you look nice. And I see your effort. Thank you. Okay, so back to the topic at hand. You guys, I talked about this in a past episode, serving, how God told me to serve at the end of 2024, I was literally in my prayer room doing my praise and worship, trying to cultivate the energy of the Holy Spirit, praying, listening to gospel music, and I ended up going to my Bible, and God took me to Matthew 23. And I talked about this in the past episode. If you guys want to go back and watch it, I don't know what episode that was. Let me just look and let y'all know, because you can really go watch it. It's about serving. And when you don't know your purpose and you don't feel fulfilled, you should serve. I talked about that in episode 41. So go back to episode 41 on Let's Try This Again and check it out, the whole story. But I'm going to reiterate a little bit of that here. The end of 2024, I was in my prayer room and God literally brought me to Matthew 23:11, I think. Don't kill me. I think it's 23, verse 11. I know it's chapter 23 for sure. And it was about serving. The greatest of these is my servant. And I was like, okay, God. It was very clear he was calling me to serve in a different way that I had never served before. And months later, I ended up visiting, early 2025, visiting my dad's church. And I had not seen my dad preach, y'all, for years. Like, been at his church on a Sunday, experienced the whole service. I mean, I was a member at that church when I was younger, but I've been gone from Columbus, Ohio for over 18 years. So I hadn't experienced him preaching in the season that I'm in the season of relationship with Jesus, in the season of growing my spirituality, in the season of maturity as the woman I am, the healed woman I am, appreciating my dad's gift. So I went back and watched him and I was blown away. When I say I was blown away at my father's ministry, like, it was so, so beautiful. All right, you guys, really quickly before we move on with the show, I have got to tell you about the Calm app. Calm is the #1 app for sleep and meditation, giving you the power to calm your mind and change your life. Sometimes I just can't sleep at night, y'all, and that's the honest to God truth. I'm restless, I toss and turn, and I can't doze off easily. The Calm app has helped me relax tremendously. The sleep meditations help me drift off into a restful sleep quickly and naturally. Plus, y'all know I take my mental health seriously. I don't play about that. The Calm app has meditations to help you work through anxiety and stress, boost your focus, build healthier habits, and take better care of your physical well-being. Everyone faces unique challenges in their daily lives, and mental health isn't about a cookie-cutter approach. That's why Calm offers a wide range of content and programs to help you navigate life's ups and downs, including sleep stories, calming music, grounding exercises, expert-led talks, and more. Calm puts the tools you need right in your pocket and can help you dedicate just a few minutes each day to live a happier and healthier life. Stress less, sleep more, and live better with Calm. For listeners of our show, Calm is offering an exclusive offer of 40% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/b.simone. Go to calm.com/b.simone for 40% off unlimited access to Calm's entire library. That's calm.com/b.simone. All right, you guys, back to the show. He is just a phenomenal preacher. Dr. Wesley Edward Greenfield Jr., Pastor Dr. Wesley. It's like all these titles. My daddy is that nigga, okay? At the end of the day. Pastor Dr. Wesley Edward Greenfield Jr., doctor. He a doctor. He's just a phenomenal preacher. And the way he articulates the word and breaks it down and explains it to millennial and Gen Z ears is just phenomenal. So I got to go back and visit his church and I was just blown away. And I didn't regret that I didn't appreciate my dad's gift before, but it's not a regret, but it's like, since I am more mature as a woman and more mature in my relationship with Christ, I appreciate it more. And I looked at it from a different, healed, mature lens. And I was just looking at my daddy preaching in the pulpit like, this man is phenomenal. Like, knowing and understanding what comes with the responsibility of leading a flock and leading a church and all the things that just comes with being a leader, whether it's a spiritual leader, a mentor, however you lead, it's a big cross to carry, especially in the spiritual religious world. So I just commend my dad for all the years that he has dedicated to his walk with God, to his ministry. He's been a pastor for, this year will be his 20th year anniversary. We're talking about 2 decades of just giving his life to the church. So the woman I am today appreciated it much, much more. And in that moment, when I saw him preaching and looking around the church, and there was just different things that I could appreciate coming from a different culture, a Baptist culture. Like, a lot of us millennials come from a different church world than this modern day church. You know what I mean? With all the cameras and the Instagram and the praise and worship. It's just so different. Like, we grew up with choirs. We didn't grow up with a praise team. We grew up with ushers seating us, not like, you know, just people like taking us to our seats. It was like literal ushers with uniforms. And we grew up with deacons and deaconess. And a lot of that has not been kept in the culture of the church, which I believe is perfectly fine. You know what I mean? You have to grow with the times, and you have to meet people where they are to get their own relationship with God. But what I did appreciate about my dad's church, it did have a lot of culture. They still have the deaconess and the deacons in the front, and they still have the ushers, and they still have the morning announcements, and they still have Sister Mabel, Shirley, Ernestine walking up and telling her testimony, which I love all of those things. They still have greet your visitors when you have a moment and you hug people. And it's very nostalgic, and it still has the culture of the Baptist church. But I also believed a lot of stuff needs to be modernized so it could reach people in 2025 where they are. You know what I mean? It caters to the old school, but it doesn't cater to the millennials and the Gen Z and the younger generation we're trying to get in the church to keep the legacy going. So in that moment, I realized, wow, like, this is where God is calling me to serve. And it was so full circle, the fact that God told me to serve at the end of 2024. And now I'm having this revelation like, wow, he's calling me to serve my father's ministry. Like, he's calling me to come back to Love Zion Missionary Baptist Church in Columbus, Ohio, and serve. And at that moment on that Sunday, I didn't know what that looked like. But later on, I realized, okay, maybe I can come back and do something with women, have a free event for women. And then, you know, we can come get together on Saturdays, and then that Sunday we can all go to church together. And that's exactly what I did. I went back. We're going to do this every 3rd Saturday of the month, and get together a weekend with women where on the 3rd Saturday of the month, it'll be different every month. I know one of the months coming up, we're going to do prayer and Pilates. This past month, we did healing and brokenness. Next month, we have a speaker coming. So it's literally a free event, but you have to register because we can't just like let everybody in, right? But I'll be posting that. So you guys keep up to look out for that every single month. But we did it last month. Saturday was so amazing. Oh my God. I have to tell you guys this experience. So me and Shekinah, one of my best friends, I was like, you have to come with me. You have to do this with me. And honestly, I'm not going to lie, y'all. We didn't know what we were doing. Like, we knew we wanted to serve, and I knew I wanted to serve women and be an asset and create a safe space, a vulnerable space where as soon as they walk in the door, their walls felt like they were coming down and they felt open enough to share. And even if they didn't verbally share, they felt open enough to be their selves in that environment. And that's exactly what we did. This was the first time we did it. So we fly up to Columbus that Saturday morning. My cousin Adriana helped me so much. I'm like, okay, I think at first we weren't going to do nothing. We were just going to show up and be like, okay, talk to the girls, say prayer, praise and worship, and just have open floor. I was like, what in the basement of the church, we still have to set the environment, you guys. The environment matters so much, whether it's your prayer room, whether it's your home, whether it's your space, whether it's your workspace, whether it's your desk. If you can control the cleanliness and the energy and the vibe of your environment, make sure you do that. So we dedicated and allocated time to change up the environment. And it was so worth it. We got all these pillows and blankets and made like 8 to 10 little forts with pillows and blankets on the floor. And as soon as the women walked in, they had to pick, how are you in this season? Are you healed and on the right path, healing and on the right path, or are you broken and confused? And some picked healing and on the right path, and some picked broken and confused. That was right at the door. We had a greeter at the door, my girl Jasmine. Thank you, Jasmine, because she was just supposed to come, but I was like, can you please greet these people? So you walk in, we had refreshments and I can't ever say that word. Charcuterie. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The boards with the meat and the cheese and the crackers. Whatever that is what we had, okay? And it was nice. We had a lady make those, and then cupcakes and all these refreshments and food. And we let the girls come in and mingle, and we had tables, and there was a rose at every seat. And then the pallets were on the floor. So already walking into the door, I wanted them to feel at home and disarmed. And we cultivated that type of energy. And I was just so happy that it felt like that. We had worship music playing as they walked in. We let them get comfortable and vibe out. And then maybe like 10, 15 minutes later, me and Shekinah came in, and my girl Taryn, who is just such a powerhouse. She's such a bold, brave woman. She's in Columbus, Ohio, and literally she was planning this with us. And her fiance came and visited my dad's church, and she was like, I want to be a part of this. And then 2 weeks later, her fiance got killed, and she still showed up in the midst of that happening to this event. She was like, I still want to be a part of it. I still want to talk. Well, actually, that's a lie. She didn't say, I still want to talk. She said, I still want to be in attendance. And I was like, if you feel moved to speak, you can speak. But at the beginning, she was just kind of, sitting and taking it all in. And she ended up opening up her mouth and sharing her testimony and how she still showed up in the midst of her grieving and her pain. The funeral was Wednesday, and this event was Saturday. That's how close it was, few days apart. And she still showed up and shared her story. And I just wanted to give her flowers for showing up and being a part of the event. But it was so beautiful. The girls walked in, we walked in, and we I spoke and said why I'm doing this, which is God is calling me to serve, and I'm starting at my father's ministry, and I want to do this every single month for women, and we can congregate and get together and go to church together the next Sunday. If you don't have a church home, I hope you find your church home here. And if you do have a church home, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to be a member here to be a part of this, So, then we got on the pallets. We all sat in different groups, like groups of 6. And in the middle of the pallets were different icebreaker cards. So we pulled those cards. And I joined a group. Shekinah got in a group. Taryn got in a group. My cousin got in a group. And I got in a different group. And I literally even told the women, I said, during this event, I am not b.Simone. Don't call me b.Simone. You can call me B if you want, or Braylon. Like in this room, I am Braylon. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not above you. No one is better than anybody. No one is running the show. Of course, this is an event that I put on, and I do have to take some type of leadership role, but we're all on the same level in here. I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable, and that's exactly what they did. They were calling me Braylon the whole time, and it felt absolutely amazing. So we get on the floor, we get in these little groups, break off into these groups, and we start pulling the cards. And my group is talking, and we're answering the question, and whatever card you pull is the question you answer. And as I look around the room, this group to my left is hugging. This group in front of me is laughing. The other group is crying. Like I look around the room, everybody was crying. They were holding each other. Some girls were laughing. Some girls were like high-fiving. Some other girls were laying on the floor, leaning on the other girls. And mind you, this is a room full of strangers. These women don't know each other. So it was just, God answered every single prayer in your obedience. You don't have to have everything figured out. You will figure it out as you're going along, one foot after the other. If God told you to do something, you don't have to have it all figured out A through Z. Just show up. Literally, just show up. And I showed up. We prayed over every single chair in that room before the event. I prayed that God just, touched every woman that came in there and they left lighter. And that's exactly what happened. We cried, we shared. At the end, we got in a circle, shared our stories, shared our testimonies. There were women that were crying. There were women that were worshiping. We were praying. It was just the most beautiful experience. And to know that, and I told my dad this because my brain goes, because I've been hustling so long and grinding and in entrepreneur mode and in making profit and selling and working, my brain always goes to making something a business or making profit or making a t-shirt or making a website and it felt so good for this to not be that. Like, I'm investing my time, I'm investing my money. It took thousands of dollars to make that happen. We're talking about flights. We're talking about food. We're talking about, I spent $800 at Walmart on blankets and pillows, you know what I mean, by itself. So, which is fine. I'm not complaining at all, but I want you guys to know that's what service looks like. Expecting nothing in return, but just to give your gifts, whether it's financial, whether it's spiritual, whether it's emotional, whether it's your guidance, whether it's your leadership, whether it's your knowledge and wisdom, whatever your gifts are, giving that in a way you're expecting nothing in return. And it really is service and healing and helpful to other people. Every single woman walked out of that room feeling filled. And I was so excited. I'm like, okay, they came to the event, but nobody's obligated to come to church. Out of the 30 women that showed up, at least 20 came to church the next day. We took up a whole section of the church. Oh my gosh. It was just, I have goosebumps right now. It was beautiful. So, I just shared that to say, you don't really know what's going to happen in the midst of your obedience. But if you're obedient, God will put together the puzzle pieces and he will connect the dots for you. So all you need to do is show up and do what he called you to do. And you guys, oh my God, the craziest thing happened. When me going back to Columbus, I didn't even have any idea the seed that it was planting in my father, the light it ignited in him, the excitement, something that he has new and fresh and something to look forward to for his ministry. And I rarely see my dad cry. I don't think I've ever seen him like fully break down. His eyes maybe get a little watery, but never really seen my dad cry. And he just grabbed me. He was like, I am so proud of you. Like, I am so proud of you. And the text he sent me let me know that in my obedience, I have answered one of my father's prayers that he has been praying in his quiet time, in his safe space, in his prayer time with God, between him and God. That's why your obedience is so important. You being obedient and walking in what God called you to do, whether it feels right, whether you have the finances, whether you're confident, whether you're excited about it, whether you want to do it or not. When you know God is tugging you that way, you're literally walking in you're answering someone else's prayer. And I'm going to read y'all this text that my dad sent me. Oh my God. It was just so beautiful. He was just so excited for me to be there. He was so excited to be involved. He was so excited to preach. And that Sunday he was on fire. I'm going to tell y'all about his sermon actually, because it was so good. But I was like, at the end of the day, I had got back to my hotel room and I was just like, I love you, Daddy. Thank you so much for everything, letting me use the church, letting me do this, letting me have my ideas, letting me kind of bombard with my ideas and my vision. And my dad just kind of stepped back and let me do it. He was like, thank me, ? Honey, it's because of your heart and gratitude that this all came together. And I don't take it lightly. Baby, it's something I've longed for, that we could do ministry together. This is a part of your pilgrimage that I knew would come. I was just patiently waiting. It's only the beginning. As always, be encouraged. So literally, him texting me that this is something that I've longed for, that we could do ministry together. Like, The fact that my dad has been thinking about this and praying about this and yearning for this, and I had no idea. That was between him and God and his prayer time and his quiet time. But me being obedient and God sending me downloads in my prayer corner, God speaking to me in my quiet time, and me answering the call, answered my dad's prayer, answered what my dad had been longing for years, and I had no idea. So you walking in obedience is not just for you. You're answering somebody else's prayer. You're answering somebody else's what they're yearning for, what they're missing, what they're seeking, just by you being you and giving your gifts. So I encourage you guys to serve. And I know, like I said, we talked about this in another episode, but I just had to share how beautiful the experience was and how amazing it was, and how just answering the call not only helped and touched and healed so many women that showed up, it helped and touched and healed me. And it helped and touched and healed something in my father that, he could have been praying about for years, praying his ministry to grow, praying for people to show up on Sunday, praying for me and him to get closer, praying for me and him to do ministry together. And a lot of those prayers were answered just by me answering the call. Oh yeah, and y'all, I told y'all I was going to tell y'all about my dad's sermon, because we had the weekend with women on that Saturday. And then that next Sunday, the very next day, we all go to church together. Baby, this word that my dad gave, I think it's still on Facebook. What was the title of the sermon? Oh, Staying Put When You Should Have Moved. Hey! It is so crazy he preached that, because that's literally what I went through with serving. I did not stay put. I moved. But his sermon was about staying put when you should have moved. If you guys are scared to serve, if you guys are scared to answer God's call, if you're scared to move, if you're stuck in this relationship, if you're stuck at this job, you should have wrote the book. God already gave you the name. You should have started the LLC, but you're scared. You should have had the trademark. You should have started your first idea, but you feel like you have to have it all figured out and you don't want to start. Stop being scared. Stop letting fear control you, and don't stay put when you should have moved. It's time to serve. It's time to start that business. It's time to give that gift. It's time to leave that relationship. It's time to quit that job. It's time to start that new job. It's time to write that book. It's time to start that business. Get that LLC. Whatever you know God has been tugging you at, this is the time to do it. So I'm going to share the points from my dad's sermon because it was so good and it ties into everything that I've been doing lately. Staying put when you should have moved was the title of the sermon. And y'all, it was so good. Okay, boom. So the sermon was literally about King David. Now, y'all know King David in the Bible. If you don't, he was a king, a man after God's own heart, but he was still human and he was still flawed. Okay. He had some things going on, but he loved the Lord, but he still had some things going on. So my dad had 3 main points of his sermon, and I'm going to share it with you because I know this is going to hit hard with somebody. I'm just going to give y'all the little points and then we're going to get out of here. But if you want to, you can go watch it on Love Zion Missionary Baptist Church Facebook. All of his sermons are up there. But y'all, sometimes we're supposed to be active in our purpose, but we choose comfort instead. We choose the same mundane thing over and over, the same life. Oh, I'm comfortable. Oh, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been doing this for 15 years. Well, this is just my life. Well, I'm 45 now. This is just my fate. Well, I'm 50 now. But no. Well, I don't want to go back to school. I'm 50. It's going to at least take me 4 years. Well, the 4 years are going to pass anyway. So you might as well be 54 with a degree than just 54 and not have went back to school. You get what I'm saying? The years are going to pass anyway. It's never too late. And in this season, you have to get out of your comfort zone and be obedient to what God is calling you to do in your purpose and finding fulfillment ultimately. And y'all, when we avoid doing what we know we should do and what God is calling us to do, it opens up the door and the window for distraction, for temptation, for sin to creep in, for negative thoughts to creep in. And my dad literally talked about that in this sermon. I took notes, so I'm going to share this with you guys really, really quick. There was 3 points that he made in this sermon. The scripture was 2 Samuel chapter 11. The story begins in verse 1. Once again, this sermon was called Staying Put When You Should Have Moved, all about David's life. There was 3 things David should have did, but instead he was disobedient. The first thing, he should have fled from lust, but he indulged in it. So in the story, David saw Bathsheba and entertained the thought instead of turning away. He sees her bathing, a woman naked bathing, and instead of turning away, knowing he could have fled from sin and fled from lust, he decides to look at her and lust over her. You guys, how many times do we linger in situations we know that God is calling us out of? My dad literally said this in his sermon. He's like, you got to get your flea game up, because when sin starts off so little and so small, but it boils over into such a major thing. Little sin can turn into something major. And that's exactly what happened in this story. So the first thing David should have did, he should have fled from lust. The second thing David should have did, I'm sorry. First thing he should have fled from lust. Actually, that was the second thing. The first thing, technically, he should have been fighting, but he chose to be still. The only reason David saw Bathsheba was because he was not on the front lines fighting. In the fight, in the war, in the battle, he decided to stay and be still. First mistake. That's why you should have been gone, because you wouldn't have saw Bathsheba. You would have been out there fighting for the Lord, but you were sitting there being disobedient. Your first act of disobedience was you should have been fighting. Instead, you stayed still. And what you fighting in this season? Get up and fight. Fight that depression. Get up. Open up that window. Wash your face. Get out of the dark. Get out of the bed. Fight in the gym. Fight your addiction to gluttony. Fight your addiction to alcohol. Fight. What do you need to be fighting? Instead, you're staying still and you're letting it fester. That was the first thing David should have did. David should have been fighting, but he chose to be still. We're supposed to be active in our purpose, but you guys were choosing comfort. Second thing, David should have fled from lust. I already said that. Because he was staying still and he wasn't fighting, he ended up seeing Bathsheba and started lusting over her. He should have moved away. So he should have been fighting. He should have fled from lust. Last thing he should have did, my God, when you do, because he ended up having sex with Bathsheba. She got pregnant. Oh, Lord. And he went down a rabbit hole. Ended up having sex with this lady. She got pregnant. And that was already a sin. He the freaking king, right? Should have been fighting, should have fled from lust, fighting, fleeing. David should have repented, but instead he tried to cover it up. When you do make a mistake, when you do mess up, when you do fall short, when you have a human flaw and you make a mistake, instead of trying to bury it and cover it up, and it's a lie after a lie, and you're sin after sin and making it worse, acknowledge it. Be honest, take accountability, and repent. He should have been fighting, messed up. He should have been fleeing. He should have been repenting. Instead of repenting, what did he do? He went from lust to adultery. So just from your eyes, now you're just lusting in your mind. Then you went from lust to adultery. Now you done slept with the lady. Now you go to deception. She's pregnant and you're trying to cover it up. Now he's a murderer. He done killed the lady husband. So just from a little seeing her naked, from lust, from one act of disobedience, he went from just lusting to murdering. That's how far the sin went. When really it could have just ended at the beginning. You should have been on the front lines fighting. First mistake. Okay, you didn't go fight. God gave him chance after chance. You didn't go fight. Okay, now you see her bathing. You should have been fleeing. Not looking at her, not lusting over her, not peeking and seeing what she's doing. You should have turned away and walked away. Last thing, you should have been repenting. Instead of repenting, you commit adultery. She gets pregnant. Now you're trying to cover it up. You end up killing her husband to cover it up. So you go from a seed of lust. That's why no sin is little. Oh, it's just little. I'm just watching porn. I'm not having sex. Oh, it's just little. I'm having sex. I'm not having a kid. Oh, no. It goes from a little seed to a big sin. I can relate to that. I've been through that. One little seed of premarital sex, little seed of having sex, and then y'all, I talk about this on previous episodes. Now I'm in an abortion clinic. Now I'm in an abortion clinic over something that started as lust. Now that's my story. So I'm not judging David. I done been there. you having sex and you doing all these things. Oh, it's nothing. We're using protection. Oh, it's nothing. But no, the sin is gonna grow. Stop it while it's here. While it's just lust and just a thought. Get that mind together. Get that sin, hold it and get a hold of it. Because that lust can turn into David's now a murderer. That lust turns into, okay, b.Simone now had an abortion. You know what I mean? So it opens up the door to too many other things that just aren't necessary when you catch it in the beginning stages. But I wanted to share my dad's sermon, you guys, because it literally resonated with everything that I'm doing in my life right now, going back to serve. And I just want to give you guys that message. What is it? What was the title of the sermon? Staying put when you should have moved. In this season, in this act of obedience, in this specific thing, God called me back to my dad's ministry. I didn't stay put. I moved. And it opened up the floodgates and the doors of healing, vulnerability, connection with other women, and even healing something in my father and healing something in myself, and bringing just more impact, more people through the doors of his church, more healing for those women, even if they never come back. They needed that weekend. So staying put when you should have moved. I moved. What in this season is calling you to move? What is this in this season is calling you to move? What is God calling you to do? I want you guys to write it down, think about it, and no longer stay put. What should you be fleeing from? What should you be fighting for? What should you be repenting about? Think about that. Write it down. What should you be fighting for in this season? What should you be fleeing from? And what should you be repenting about? Don't stay put when you should have moved. I encourage every single person listening to this episode, move. That you know what? We about to start having, I don't even want to start that because I'm probably not going to keep it up. I'm like, we're going to have the word of the week. No, we're not, because you're going to do it 2 times and then we're not going to have a word. But the word of this week, I'm not going to say we're going to do it every week, but the word of this week is move. 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 Even if you just have to get the pen and the pad and write the ideas, write the goals, take the first step, move. Move your hand and write. Move your feet and walk. Move your body and work out. Move your mind and do something different besides scrolling on Instagram. Staying put when you should have moved. Don't stay put in this season. Move. What do you need to fight for? What do you need to flee from? And what do you need to repent of? That's all. That's it. That's all. My daddy had that. That's a good sermon now. Y'all need to go listen to that sermon. Dr. Pastor Wesley Edward Greenfield Jr. at Love Zion Missionary Baptist Church in Columbus, Ohio on Madison Avenue. Yeah, pull up on them. But y'all, this episode was just so amazing. I'm not staying put when I know God is calling me to move. And me going back to Columbus, Ohio to serve my dad's church was a prime example of that. Don't stay put when you should have moved. You guys, I hope this episode touched you. I hope it related to you. I hope you can meditate on the words that I'm saying and really think about it and dig deep and see how you need to move in this season. I love you guys so much. I will see y'all next week. Another episode of Let's Try This Again podcast. I am your host, b.Simone. Every single Monday, the audio drops on all audio platforms, and every Tuesday, the visual drops on YouTube. You guys, I love y'all so much. And oh my gosh, if y'all don't already follow at LTTA app, baby, on Instagram, the app is coming soon. I cannot wait. I am so excited. Oh my goodness. The LTTA app is on the way. We have a whole show that we produce just for the app. I'm not going to say too much, but baby, exclusive content, daily affirmations, journaling. I mean, this app is about to be a whole network, okay? LTTA is a production company, and the stuff we're putting on the LTTA app is going to be healing. It's going to be powerful. It's going to be community. It's going to be growth, and I cannot wait for you guys to download and have this app. It is coming soon, so go follow at LTTA app on Instagram. I love y'all so much, and I will see you guys next week.